Tonight, Donald Trump back inside the Oval Office.
Thank you, Donald. Congratulations. Thank you.
A meeting between presidents, the promise of a smooth transition. Plus, why Trump's new pick for Attorney General is even surprising some Republicans.
You could literally hear the jaws dropping to the floor of Republican senators.
The border concerns here in Canada if Trump delivers on his promise to deport millions.
We have significant staffing shortages at the CBSA.
And tightening security as Taylor Swift's Toronto era begins.
Fans without tickets won't even be allowed to stand here.
Is the city ready for it?
From CBC News, this is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrienne Arsenault.
Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with Donald Trump back in the White House, albeit briefly, for the first time in nearly 4 years. In the Oval Office, Trump sat alongside outgoing President Joe Biden, sharing pleasantries and shaking hands before the pair continued their meeting in private. The return to tradition was followed quickly by another key and controversial nomination by Trump. Chris Reyes now on his growing inner circle and why even some Republicans were caught off guard.
Well, Mr. President-elect and former President,
thank you,
Donald, congratulations.
Thank you.
In a drastic change of tone, President Joe Biden welcomed his bitter rival back to the Oval Office with grace and civility. And President-elect Donald Trump returned the gesture.
Welcome.
Thank you
back.
very much. And thank you very much. And politics is tough, and it's in many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much.
Biden promised Trump the smooth transition that he never got 4 years ago. His handover marred by Trump's election denials and the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Stealing the spotlight from their historic meeting, a flurry of new appointments from Trump, including his pick for Attorney General, embattled Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, who was once the subject of a sexual misconduct investigation by the Department of Justice, the very department he is now set to oversee. No charges were filed against him, and he has always proclaimed his innocence, but the choice still prompting shock.
You could literally hear the jaws dropping to the floor of Republican senators who are now going to be in a position to stand up to Donald Trump in a way that they have been unwilling to.
I believe that the president is probably rewarding him for being such a loyal soldier to the president. But the president is smart enough and his team is smart enough to know that Mr. Gaetz will never get confirmed by the Senate.
Trump also announced his pick for head of national intelligence, former Democrat and U.S. Army veteran Tulsi Gabbard, who has been a vocal critic of Biden's support for Ukraine and U.S. intervention in global conflicts. Trump's administration formed in real time as he exchanged pleasantries with Biden. The presidents did not take any questions from media, while the White House shared few details of what they talked about in their closed-door 2-hour meeting.
It was a substantive meeting, an exchange of views. They discussed important national security and domestic policy issues facing the nation and the world.
Trump's return to Washington was a big, huge victory lap. In addition to his meeting with Biden wrapping without a hitch, while he was in town, several American networks projected that the Republicans will maintain control of the House.
And Chris, beyond what you call that political victory lap, Trump appears to have scored a bit of a legal victory tonight.
That's right. Adrienne also announced today the case that was considered to be one of the most serious against Trump, involving his handling of classified documents as he left office may be really dead in the water. The case was already dismissed last summer, but prosecutors appealed it, and now the man who spearheaded that investigation, Jack Smith, has asked a Florida judge to hit pause on that appeal. According to reports, Smith also plans to resign his post before Trump takes office.
All right, Chris Reyes in New York tonight. Now, Republicans, now set to take over the Senate from Democrats, have elected their incoming majority leader, 4-term Senator John Thune.
We are excited to reclaim the majority and to get to work with our colleagues in the House to enact President Trump's agenda.
Thune will replace the longest-serving Senate party leader in U.S. history, Mitch McConnell. But like McConnell, Thune hasn't always seen eye to eye with Donald Trump. Trump has already called on the Senate to go into recess to allow him to push through appointments to top positions without needing the chamber's confirmation. Now, in Canada, preparations are ramping up ahead of Trump's promised crackdown on migration. The president-elect says he plans to deport millions of people. And as Rafi Boudjikanian shows us, that has some bracing on this side of the border.
With Donald Trump soon back at the White House, Ottawa's focus is already sharpening.
We take the border very, very seriously.
That comment on the heels of Trump's new border czar insisting it's time for a tough conversation with Canada.
The problem with the northern border is a huge national security issue. A lot of SIAs, special interest aliens, from countries that sponsor terror or are known not to be our friends, come through the northern border.
Trump has promised to deport millions of undocumented migrants, prompting a warning by the union representing Canada's border guards about some heading in the opposite direction, out of fear of Trump's threat.
We have significant staffing shortages at the CBSA. We do not have the ability to patrol between ports of entry. We don't have the staff or the mandate to do that.
The RCMP and provincial police are responsible for keeping watch over the 9,000 kilometers between the official entry points into Canada from the U.S. The Border Guards Union says it would need up to 3,000 more agents if Republicans follow through. No firm plans yet from the government.
We will ensure that Canada's borders are secure.
During Trump's first term, the number of migrants attempting to enter Canada from the U.S. at irregular border crossings swelled dramatically. At the time, they were allowed to seek asylum. That policy has since been shut down. Now, Ottawa says it's watching closely.
Are there changes to be made at any particular point in time when we see behaviors changing, when we see our security agencies advising us to adopt a different posture? I think absolutely. Those are conversations that won't be had in public.
Prime Minister Trudeau is preparing for 2 international summits this week, including the G20, where Trump's return will almost certainly be a subject, with implications that extend far beyond our borders. Rafi Boudjikanian on CBC News, Ottawa.
Now to another one of Donald Trump's high-profile appointments. Mike Huckabee, his pick for ambassador to Israel, has long supported the annexation of the West Bank. Margaret Evans now with what this could mean for Palestinians already facing settler violence.
Hard to get more brazen than this. Israeli settlers setting cars on fire in a suburb of Ramallah in the occupied West Bank earlier this month, home to the Palestinian Authority. Caught on CCTV footage, residents reported about a dozen masked attackers. It's just one example of the ongoing spike in violent attacks by Jewish settlers against Palestinians, emboldened by Israel's pro-settler government, its ministers promoting the expropriation of the West Bank.
They're going to annex a very, very big part of the West Bank, I assume, where Israelis are today and where they want Israelis to be in the future.
It's clear they're counting on Donald Trump's return to help them. This is the Israeli finance minister on Monday, pledging to apply Israeli sovereignty in the West Bank with the help of the Trump administration.
Hi there, how are you?
News that settler ally Mike Huckabee has been tipped as the next U.S. ambassador to Israel will seal their hopes. He doesn't accept that Israel is occupying Palestinian land. Trump's first term was notable for reversing long-standing U.S. policy by recognizing Jerusalem as the Israeli capital and Israel's annexation of the Golan Heights.
The Israeli government right now has no restraints at all.
Peace campaigner Hagit Ofran believes that settlers already celebrating what they believe will be a return of Israeli settlements to Gaza will now push even harder.
They will do their utmost to take advantage of the situation.
Palestinians across the occupied territories will be bracing themselves for even rockier times ahead. Margaret Evans, CBC News, London.
Margaret was recently in the West Bank to capture some extraordinary scenes of the tension there, despite some pushback.
Go there.
Don't touch me.
You're not answering my question. How do we know that you're a soldier?
You'll get a close-up view of the pressure tactics some Israeli settlers are using. That's about 20 minutes from now. Well, Canadian civilians who worked as interpreters and cultural advisors during the war in Afghanistan say they've been abandoned. They deployed with soldiers, took fire, and bled like them. Now, many carry the same burdens as veterans. And Olivia Stefanovic shows us they want the same support.
These Afghan-Canadians risk their lives to help Canadian troops in Afghanistan, acting as language and cultural advisors, or LCAs. Now they say they've been forgotten.
We saved their life and they ignored us. I have no health coverage. I have no help from the Department of National Defense. Not even something to invite you, even for Veteran Days. I have to invite myself.
Canada's military recruited 81 Afghan Canadians, acting as translators and giving crucial advice on Afghan culture and conditions.
You didn't go anywhere outside the wire without your LCA, and they took exactly the same risks that we did, dressed in the same uniform that we had. The only difference is they weren't armed.
Former top commanders say the advisors helped Canada complete its mission, which ended in 2014.
They supported us fighting the Taliban and making, Afghanistan a better place. So I'd like to hear that they've been taken care of.
But because they were civilians on temporary contracts, the Department of National Defense denied them benefits and health coverage.
It's a shame, actually. These people served in so many ways alongside military men and women.
Opposition parties tell CBC News they plan to raise the issue as soon as Parliament resumes next week.
Canada has a moral obligation to support the people who supported our country.
Until then, the federal government says it's aware of the challenges as Canada's military watchdog is conducting her own investigation.
If the country and the department fails to act, I think they're going to have a very hard time making the case to recruit people to do this type of work moving forward.
Instead of helping the language and cultural advisors, D&D has referred them elsewhere. The result, their claims are often rejected. They hope the Ombuds report will bring change when it's released in the new year. Olivia Stefanovic, CBC News, Ottawa.
The unions representing dock workers in both Montreal and BC say they plan to challenge Ottawa's decision to end lockouts at their ports. On Tuesday, Labour Minister Stephen McKinnon announced he was sending the parties to binding arbitration, saying the work stoppages threaten companies that rely on the ports, as well as Canada's reputation as a trade partner. Both unions say the move undermines worker rights. Well, Taylor Swift's Eras Tour arrives in Toronto tomorrow for the first of 6 sold-out shows. The city is also bracing for throngs of fans. And as Thomas Daig shows us, security is already ramping up.
With this mega concert event comes big-time security, as 500,000 Swifties and visitors descend on Toronto for 6 sold-out shows.
I just hope it's a nice, positive, safe experience for everybody.
It was just 3 months ago that Taylor Swift's tour stop in Vienna was abruptly called off over a foiled ISIS-inspired attack.
Wondering how that has shaped any planning for you.
We are continuously monitoring any potential threats. There are no threats at this time, and we are adequately resourced.
Officers will wear flashing lights to make themselves visible to concertgoers.
This is all in an effort to ensure that we have a safe event.
Consider entrances to major venues like this are often called soft targets.
Soft targets are prone to be in a lot of density in terms of space and area.
Fans without tickets won't even be allowed to stand here outside the stadium on concert days. Organizers are setting up a special perimeter for ticket holders only. All in an effort to avoid Taylor gating when crowds sing along from outside.
You have to make sure that they have a safe area to go to, and you're not going to increase the risks by keeping them away from the building.
Toronto police say they consulted with law enforcement in other cities that hosted the Eras Tour.
We had all hands on deck, and we had police covering every intersection.
After deadly concert attacks in Manchester and Las Vegas in 2017, Swift told Elle magazine her biggest fear wasn't for herself. "I was completely terrified to go on tour," she said, "because I didn't know how we were going to keep 3 million fans safe." She's broken touring records since then and lands here next. Thomas Daigle, CBC News, Toronto.
Parts of Spain have been hit with another wave of powerful storms just 2 weeks after flash floods left more than 200 people dead. In the south, a swollen river swept away and submerged vehicles. As a precaution, several neighborhoods in the hardest hit parts of the country were evacuated beforehand. So far, no serious injuries have been reported. Well, there are renewed demands tonight in Washington for more information about what the U.S. government knows about UFOs. Joe Horwood now with the testimony on Capitol Hill and the calls for transparency.
When the Pentagon first released these videos, it was an admission that the U.S. government does keep documentation on unidentified anomalous phenomena, the new term for UFOs.
This is where it gets real.
Now, calls for more transparency.
So help you God.
Do you believe, just for the record, that the federal government, any part of the federal government, is knowingly concealing evidence about UAPs from the public?
Yes, sir. Congress members want to know why the Department of Defense refuses to declassify more UAP materials.
Why hide it from the American people?
Interviewing witnesses who claim to have insider info.
I've seen the documentation by the U.S. government for several of these individuals who have sustained injuries as a result of a UAP incident.
But aren't revealing specifics.
We would have to have a conversation in a closed session, ma'am.
This isn't just the realm of science fiction. Remember that Chinese spy balloon the U.S. shot down last year? Before it was properly identified, it was considered a UAP. U.S. lawmakers were told that without transparency, UAPs could pose national security risks. Chris Rutkowski has spent years studying and writing about UFOs and UAPs in Canada. He says our two countries handle disclosure very differently.
We had a discovery of the release of 500 pages of documentation about the UAP, or the balloon that was shot down over the Yukon by American fighter jets. That material is available, or it was made available through access to information requests in Canada, but the American side has no information of that that's been released.
But more information could soon be coming from the U.S. This hearing is part of a push to change the laws to make more information on UAPs public. And President-elect Donald Trump has said he would support more transparency as well. Joe Horwood, CBC News, Calgary.
Some newcomers are bidding farewell to Canada.
While paying for rent, we couldn't pay for anything else.
How the cost of living may be driving people out. Canada has maintained a bank of blood from newborns, but new numbers show little is used.
They play on the hype around stem cells, not on the reality.
And the fireball that lights up Alberta's sky.
It signifies a rock coming from space.
We're back in 2. Well, that is a transformer exploding alongside a passenger rail line in New York State. Train service was temporarily suspended, and it took hours to put those flames out. No one was injured, and it is still not clear why it exploded. Well, we're getting a clearer picture of how often umbilical cord blood donations are actually being used in this country. New numbers show it's not very often. Jennifer Yoon shows us why it's still rare, but also saving lives.
No one's gonna come. A stranger's umbilical cord blood saved 4-year-old Tristan Ford's life. Diagnosed with a rare immune deficiency disease, he would almost certainly have died as an infant if he couldn't find a stem cell match.
Yeah, we were running out of time and we were terrified. So then the doctor called and said, "We found a match. It's in the public cord blood registry."
Rich in stem cells, cord blood is used to treat several cancers as well as blood and immune disorders. For decades, it was touted as a future way to treat all kinds of illnesses. But new data shows they're rarely used. Almost a decade after the creation of a national public cord blood bank and nearly 4,700 units donated, 86 have been distributed since 2015. 58 of those were sent out of the country for recipients abroad.
Low numbers doesn't equate to low importance because they fulfill a niche for patients who are particularly hard to serve.
The main reason why cord blood transplants are so rare, there's only about this much in each unit. That's enough for kids, but not for adults. And there are also new effective treatments for cancers like leukemia.
The need for cord blood transplantation is actually not as high because of these advances in our therapy.
At this private cord bank, where parents pay thousands to keep their child's cord blood under lock and key for the family's use only, transplant rates are even lower.
Of the 50,000 units or so, we've only released fewer than 10 of them.
Most private banks also advertise a lot of potential uses, like for Alzheimer's, autism, and diabetes. Private banks acknowledge they're still experimental.
The expectation is that they are for future use, so it's sort of like an insurance.
They play on the hype around stem cells, not on the reality.
This law professor, who specializes in medical ethics, says private banks are taking advantage of future parents' strong desire to protect their kids.
So it was such a gift for our family.
I want to know what it does.
For the Ford family, they're just thankful the public bank was an option at all. Jennifer Thune, CBC News, Toronto.
Violence against Palestinians living in the West Bank appears to be on the rise. We go to the region to see firsthand the conflict with settlers and the armed guards who protect them.
I want to keep my eye on him.
And
welcome to the Eras Tour.
The countdown to Taylor Swift in Toronto and what is drawing so many fans.
Taylor Swift's basically been the backdrop to my life.
The National breaks down the story shaping our world. Next. A recent survey says many newcomers to Canada are considering turning around and leaving the country. As Lisa Shing explains, they say they face closed doors and sky-high costs.
2 years ago, the Fomina family came to Canada as refugees from Ukraine, but they didn't stay long.
We had no credit card history and we didn't have a job.
Olena Fomina and her husband are dentists, but couldn't work in their specialization without paying for school.
I started to work like a dental assistant, and my husband started to work like a carpenter in factory.
Starting over was made more difficult by barely being able to make ends meet.
It's not like that we couldn't pay for rent. It just, while paying for rent, we couldn't pay for anything else.
So they decided to move again to Poland. Their experience and decision seems to be a trend.
I'm just leaving to India.
Forever?
Yep.
The number one reason is that the living cost is getting unbearable.
Rent is so expensive, you're barely gonna afford anything.
In fact, a recent poll by the Angus Reid Institute found 39% of newcomers who have lived here for less than a decade are seriously considering leaving their province or the country entirely.
I've been in Canada for 36 years. I've never seen this.
Those who work directly with immigrants say the struggle to survive means the stress spills over to other aspects of one's life.
When you are stressed, the family violence, and then, these kind of things comes from lack of necessity.
The federal government tells CBC News it's making sure newcomers, including refugees, are able to contribute to the Canadian economy through training and employment and community services. But many settlement agencies say it's not working.
Where we need to really veer to is actually creating an opportunity economy. Opportunities where individuals are able to use their skills into finding meaningful employment.
A country once the immigrant's dream. Now a stopover on the way to destinations that seem to offer more. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, let's break down the news shaping our world. Violent intimidation escalates in the West Bank.
Everything happens in a moment, and maybe it will cost you your life.
Palestinians pushed out of their homes by armed Israeli settlers who confronted our team too.
Go there. Give me passport.
Well, you're not answering my question. How do we know that you're a soldier?
In a decades-long tug-of-war in the West Bank, Palestinians say violence and harassment by settlers has surged since October 7th. CBC News' senior international correspondent Margaret Evans was there to show us all the consequences.
Give me passport, please.
I'd really like to see your ID saying you're a soldier.
This is not the law in Israel. Give me passport.
These are the foot soldiers of Israel's settlement enterprise in the occupied West Bank at work.
You know everything here. Give me, please.
Don't touch me.
Hey! They're now actually putting handcuffs on him.
Their tactics are increasingly hard lines, say the Palestinians enduring them.
I want to keep my eye on him.
The Palestinian village of Thune lies south of Hebron, a small farming community that, like most of the West Bank, is under complete Israeli control. Shaped by the land and circumstance, 20-year-old Mohammed Horeini has taken to fighting the occupation through social media.
Every week there is a home demolition in Masafir Yatta. Meanwhile, in my back, there, the settlements have the right to exist, while, according to the national law, are illegal.
Horeini was born and raised in these hills in the shadow of an Israeli settlement called Ma'on and its outpost, Havot Ma'on.
And yeah, as you see, they have just established this military tower which for watching our land after October 7th. And if they saw us here, they will come.
And they did come, just after the interview. Armed men in military fatigues, unable or unwilling to formally identify themselves. Ma'on and its outpost are notorious for the extremist settlers who live there. Palestinian children walking by on their way to school have had to have an Israeli army escort to protect them from attack for nearly 2 decades. Horeini says Thune's residents are used to harassment, but since the deadly Hamas attack on October 7th last year, violence by extremist settlers against Palestinians has spiked. This video shows an encounter between an armed settler and Palestinian residents of Thune in the same month. Horeini's cousin, Zachariah Adra, was shot in the stomach, an armed person in military fatigues looking on. Adra survived, but his attacker was never charged.
Everything happens in a moment, and maybe it will cost you your life.
The land in the South Hebron hills can shift in and out of focus when the sand slips loose from the hard desert floor, a little like the dream of a Palestinian state. Since Israel captured East Jerusalem and the West Bank from Jordan in 1967, successive governments have allowed settlements to expand and flourish on Palestinian land. Today, there are 500,000 Jewish settlers in the West Bank alone, many in large settlement blocks, others in smaller remote ones, some for economic reasons, some because they believe the land is theirs by divine right. Horeini is taking us to a village called Zanuta, its Palestinian residents having just returned for the first time in almost a year since fleeing in the weeks after October 7th, threatened, they say, by settlers at a nearby outpost.
Yes, go. Yeah, this is after the people were forcibly displaced. The settlers came here, they start to draw they put lots of Israeli flags and destroyed most of the houses. They
destroyed.
The school, built with European Union funding, is in ruins. A few childhood memories clinging to the walls that still stand.
You can see there's a settlement outpost that's close to the village.
The outpost in question is called the Meteor Farm, established by a man named Enon Levy, one of 11 extremist settlers sanctioned by Canada, accused of perpetrating violence against Palestinians. Hello, marhaba. We find the men of the village trying to clear up. They say it's still not fit for women or small children. Okay. Shafiq Suleiman, born here 52 years ago, he tells us, shows us his house, now without a roof. The farmers and herders who live here only returned after an Israeli Supreme Court decision said they could. But they've come with solidarity activists from Israel and abroad for added security. And they're not allowed to rebuild their homes destroyed in their absence because the area has been dubbed an archaeological zone. The residents show us video they say is of Levy and others harassing them as soon as they returned, driving quads through their herds. You're always afraid, says Suleiman. If you'd come an hour ago, you would have seen settlers here. Calling the Israeli police or army, they say, is pointless. Shepherd Hassan Batat tells us he was arrested a day earlier after one of Levy's men accused him of stealing a sheep. When the police came, he says, they took a sheep out of his flock and issued him with a fine of nearly $400.
Israeli settlements are considered illegal under international law. Obviously, Israel disputes that. But even Israel considers settlement outposts like the one behind me illegal, at least technically. Most Palestinians will tell you the Israeli government is actually encouraging them and will one day support them with electricity, water, even their own access roads.
Rights groups say it's an old pattern, but one that's accelerated dramatically since Israel's far-right government came to power 2 years ago, with pro-settler cabinet ministers describing settlements as facts on the ground that will thwart any possibility of a Palestinian state. Nearly 70 outposts have been greenlit for government funding over the past year, according to settlement watch groups, and 43 new outposts have been established.
Part of the settlers' strategy with the outposts is to start on one hilltop and then take another hilltop nearby and then another. And that way they're linking the territory in between and expanding the territory they control.
We returned to Zanuta a week later, only to find it deserted, save for the mayor of the village council.
Unfortunately, the settlers still attack us.
Fayez Tella says October 7th and the war in Gaza that followed has given cover to those in Israel determined to annex the whole of the West Bank.
The settlers have an permission to do anything, to do all kinds of the violence. But I'm not with what happened in 7 October.
We decided to try and speak to Enon Levy.
אנחנו פה מהטלוויזיה הקנדית CBC.
אני לא אוהב את הדברים האלה, לא אוהב את המצלמות והדברים האלה, אני יכול בטלפון בשמחה בערב.
He's happy to do it on the phone in the evening,
on the phone,
around 6, 7.
But not in person.
Yeah.
Because we're very near right now. Does he know that?
He says he's not there. When we call him later at the appointed time, he tells us to call back in an hour, and when we do, he stops answering his phone.
Looks like he hung up on us.
An occupation now in its 57th year has never been a stagnant thing. But the lines between the Israeli army and militant Jewish settlers are increasingly blurred.
All of you stop here.
The encounter between our crew and the armed men who arrived from behind settlement walls to demand our passports is a mild example.
Your passport? Well, you're not answering my question. How do we know that you're a soldier?
You not need. Hey.
In the end, they arrested our Palestinian-Israeli colleague, falsely accusing him of assault.
They then put him in the car and have driven him towards this settlement or the outpost that you can see just in the distance.
He was eventually released, but ordered to appear at a police station the next day.
Go there.
Later, the Israel Defense Forces told us the man demanding passports was an army reservist. Asked about the IDF relationship with settlements and outposts, they said the IDF trains and equips what it called local community defense forces. Critics say they're militia-like, often made up of hardline settlers volunteering as reservists to replace Israeli troops normally stationed in the West Bank, now fighting in Gaza or Lebanon. Mohammed Horeini's chosen path, he says, is one of activism, non-violent resistance to the theft of Palestinian land. The teachings, he says, of his father.
And what do you think about the sanctions that some countries, including my own, put on individual settlers? Is that helpful?
Did you see any change after all of this? Did you see settlers stop their crimes against the Palestinians? No.
If anything, he says, they're emboldened. What happened to his cousin has shaken him. That's the point, he says.
To scare you, to intimidate you, and to put an end for what we are doing, for fighting for our liberation, for our rights, for our land.
A part of Horeini's routine now is to make sure his father is rarely alone when grazing their animals. The settlers and their guards watching in the distance, one more constraint on an already restricted horizon.
Adrian, this was a trip that we made, of course, before the U.S. elections, so many of the Palestinians that we spoke to are going to be reevaluating their horizons on an entirely different level now, too.
So I suppose the return of Donald Trump will alter or undo so many of the actions of the Biden administration. What's your sense of how that could play out?
Well, most Palestinians won't differentiate between the Biden and the Trump administrations. They believe that the United States favors Israel, and that's not likely to change. But there's no doubt that Donald Trump is seen as someone who is going to, or likely to be, much more sympathetic to the idea of Israel appropriating parts of the occupied territories. So, you know, from the settler point of view, what they're hoping is that what Trump will throw out are the sanctions that the United States, like Canada, has imposed on individual settlers and on the organizations that support them.
All right, Margaret, big thanks to you and Jason, the whole team. We're very glad you're okay. You sure got guts. Margaret Evans back in London tonight. Next, the crowds are building in Toronto hours before Taylor Swift's concerts get underway.
I was supposed to be sent away.
We explore why she's such a phenomenon. Next. Taylor Swift brings her billion-dollar powerhouse tour to Canada.
Are you ready for it?
So we're breaking down all the ways she has reshaped the music industry.
She's rewriting the rules with everything that she does.
Taylor walked so that we pop girlies could run.
How she reaches across generations and into the hearts of women and girls. So Eli Glasner obviously had no trouble getting people to praise this music megastar. They even cut her some slack about those mega ticket prices. So take a look and listen to get why Taylor Swift is at the very top.
As the Taylor Swift tsunami crests over Toronto, the signs are clear.
Welcome to the Eras Tour.
Swift is more than a musician. She's a one-woman economic kickstarter, a record-smashing artist, drawing fans for sing-alongs and dance parties.
I was supposed to be sent away.
When her latest album, The Tortured Poets Department, arrived, it premiered at #1 on Billboard, her 14th album in a row to do so.
It's been interesting looking at the Taylor's versions.
Richard Trapunski is the national editor of Billboard Canada.
That album beat the record for the most streams in one day. And also at the same time, it beat the record for the most vinyl sales in the first week.
Part of the appeal is the fans, who since her first album have grown up with her.
I've been a Taylor Swift fan, probably since I was about 3 or 4 years old.
Taylor Swift's basically been the backdrop to my life, and I remember being in high school singing along to her debut album.
Music journalist Melissa Vincent first heard Taylor at her brother's soccer game.
I remember the smell, and I remember what I was thinking.
She's not alone.
We're now getting into like generational experiences with fans who remember her maybe as like a young teenager and are now getting to the age where they might be introducing some of their own daughters to her music.
Fans also admire the way Swift has stood her ground. When Scooter Braun bought the rights to her first 6 albums, Swift decided to re-record them.
There's the music industry, and then there's Taylor Swift, and she's rewriting the rules with everything that she does.
Now Swift is part of a sisterhood ruling the pop charts. Swift was there to support when Olivia Rodrigo was breaking through.
This is definitely the highlight of my senior year.
And now sharing the spotlight with Sabrina Carpenter.
Taylor walked so that we pop girlies could run.
Rumor on the street is that her apples are delicious.
Canadian Devin Cole is following in Taylor Swift's footsteps, channeling her feelings into pop songs, part rallying cry, part confessional.
If you need a drink, then I'm fine. If you need a minute.
She is the queen of taking a very nuanced experience to her, something really personal to her, and painting it in such a beautiful way that it's universal.
Getting to share these moments with you.
But you can't talk about Taylor Swift without talking about her army, the Swifties.
How she's kind of cultivated this community.
Well, speaking of cultivated, it is giving culty in the most amazing way. Those,
in a positive
In a
cult.
positive way, yes. Super fans are the people who drive the most of your sales, the most of your streams.
But with great power comes greater ticket prices. By the end of 2023, Swift's Eras Tour had already crossed $1 billion in revenue. Well, Taylor Swift called out Ticketmaster when fan demand crashed their system, saying, "We asked them multiple times if they could handle this kind of demand."
Nico.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Music writer Nico Stratus says given the sheer size of the Eras Tour production, there aren't many other options.
Taylor Swift's not going to be selling tickets on Eventbrite, you know, and there's not a lot of other viable options for somebody like her. And yes, she can fight harder and she could use more of her massive wealth and influence to do more, but that's not sort of who she is.
But for her fans, Taylor is...
She's just so huge, and I feel like she is the goal.
She's kind of like a romance novel. She makes you believe in love and good things and true friendship.
It doesn't have to be exclusionary in that way, but just that feeling of like being together.
Yeah, like solidarity.
And bonding. Yeah.
Camaraderie.
Yeah.
It's like fraternity, but for women.
Yeah.
everything they want, and finally, here in Canada.
So Eli Glasner will be all over CBC News to show you the impact of her 6 Toronto dates. That is followed by 3 more shows in Vancouver when the final encore is over and all the superfans from other countries go back home. There will be no denying Taylor Swift left her mark on Canada. Well, next, the sudden flash over Alberta's skies.
For me, it's really interesting because it signifies a rock coming from space. It's a recent arrival from space.
The scientific spectacle in our moment. Well, that bright and glowing green flash is thought to be a meteor captured this morning in Edmonton. It was one of many sightings caught by people across Alberta, and tonight this natural phenomenon from outer space makes our moment.
There's almost certainly a rock coming through the atmosphere, and when that happens, we call the rock itself a meteoroid. And the phenomenon that people saw was the outside of that rock heating up as it came through the Earth's atmosphere, and that's what's known as a fireball. At the top of the atmosphere, it's going like 60,000 kilometers an hour, and you get essentially a plasma forming, and so you can have different elements that contribute color. The colors that we see with fireballs can be little trace amounts of metal or a certain type of element that gets vaporized. Most meteorites come from asteroids in the asteroid belt. out there between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. So pieces that get broken off and then make their way in orbits that crosses that of the Earth. For me, it's really interesting because it signifies a rock coming from space. It's a recent arrival from space. If something survives from this and we're able to get it into scientific labs, there's all kinds of great information that we can get from it. And that's really the science of meteorite falls and meteorite studies.
So a hot tip, they're not hot, apparently. If you find one, I know we've all seen movies where they're like smoking, they won't be hot, but they do advise, please use a glove to pick it up, and please donate it to science so that we can figure out what it is. From all of us at The National, thank you for being with us. You can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to The National's YouTube channel. I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Take care.